Okay, folks, let's talk a little bit about creating some art in Unity here. So I'll go ahead and make a new file. I made all my tiles 50 pixels by 50 pixels. So here, I'll go ahead and do that. And the raster effects, this is probably good where it's at, the rest of this stuff. Okay, so here I am in Illustrator. You can see the bounds of my project. I can use Control plus mouse to zoom in and out. And so let's start by making something that's sort of like a brick-like texture. So I'm going to get a square here, double click the fill color, and choose an overall color here. And then more specific color here. Should kind of snap, but if you're dragging a square, if you hold shift, or if you're doing a circle too, or you hold shift, it'll make it perfectly square. On this one, I do not want a line around the edge, so I'm going to click on my color for the edge and click this none sign here. Okay. I can also turn on window, snap to grid, snap to point, etc. This can help you snap these points to stuff so it lines up perfectly. Okay, now there's sort of two types. If I have a brick that ends at the edges, it doesn't really have to tile. But if I have something that carries over to the next brick, like in a repeating pattern, I sort of need to worry about that. So if I go ahead and make some lines here, I'll hit this. And I'm going to give a no fill color. And I'll double click this and change it sort of like a grout color. I'm control clicking to get rid of that. Now that's snapped, but not where I want it to, so I might turn off some of my snapping to grid here. Okay, so I'm trying to picture here. If I end this brick about here, we'll carry on and then come over to this side. Now if I hit I can get an eyedropper. And then that allows me to take that color there. I can double click and make it a little darker in this area if I want. I just put it behind this line by right clicking, doing arranging that rearranges stuff front to back, like towards and away from you. So you can send it all the way to the back or send it forward or back one level at a time. And knowing that this part has to continue over here, I'm trying to kind of guesstimate about where it would go to continue. So I might do something like this. I'm just going to tile on the edges. Piscal has a really easy way to do or to see tiling. But in here, we probably have to make it a brush so we can see it side to side. I'll kind of show you how that works. Let me make a different pattern here though. Let's see. Maybe I'll take this line up to here. If I hit A, switch this white arrow. Remember the black arrow selects objects. The white arrow selects parts of objects. The black arrow selects entire objects. Okay, to see what this would look like with tiling, and we can go ahead and I'm going to select this, drag a selection on the whole thing like this, click, hold, and drag, select it all. I'm going to hit Control G just to make it a little easier. Make it a group. Okay. We can go in, and if we try to make it a brush, that's one good way to kind of see things like how it might tile. Let's see. So we'll try pattern. And you can see kind of how it tiles here. So here we sort of have an issue with how it lines up. Now somewhere over here they should have some options for this brush. Let's see. Like how close it tiles and everything. Well, here we go. So you can adjust that width and height. Our bricks are a little small, so you probably want to tweak this a bit. Now these don't look like the rectangular bricks we'd use in real life, but let's say that this is fine for what I need. And maybe what I'll do is put a highlight. this here. And maybe on this one, maybe I'll go to Window, Appearance, and perhaps we'll take down the opacity here. That way, if other objects go underneath this, it will take into account the opacity. Like if I said in, and I'm hitting Enter for pencil, I did like another little area here. I did this again, the transparency can overlap. So there'll be a little bit of transparency overlapping things. The same thing here, this needs to start over here. And end at about the same spot over here. Now, usually I take my time with this, make it look nice, but here I'm just trying to make it real quick. Okay, so now we have a pattern. I'm going to hit Control A again to select everything, Command or Control G to group. We go to File, Export, Export As. Then we've got our brick that's square. Okay, this is a GIF. I'm going to make it a JPEG, or honestly, I would do PNGs because they support transparency. So if you had something where it needed transparency to show through a background, you would want that on. Okay, let's save it as tile brick or something like that. Let's go into Documents right now. Okay, we'll close that Illustrator. Alright, let's check out Pisco real quick, and I'll show you how to do it in here too. Well, important, I happen to have mine saved both on the computer and in the browser, I think, too. So I had this one here. Now to see the tiling, I need to go, let's see. Here, Preferences, Tile Mode, and here you can see the side to side and up and down tiling. Okay, let's make a new one. Okay, 50 by 50, same deal here. Alright, I'm going to make another brick here, so let's go ahead and fill this with a shape. Remember, actually switch that. Okay. You can just fill here. little kind of speckling to set some differences in here. Okay. Just trying to dither it a little bit here. Okay, maybe I want to draw like a little face or decoration on it. Now you can use your pen tablet for this. I'm using my mouse right now just because I'm used to it. I'm going to eyedropper one of my previous colors for highlights. Okay. If I'm good to go, I can see how it tiles. I want to make sure. This one will, because it can end on the edges, it doesn't really need to tile. But something to carry it over would have to. So like let's say that I made a line that goes off the edge. See, now that line comes back from this side. If it goes to the bottom, it has to continue to the side. Now that's to the side here. To continue over here. Now you get continuity between tiles. Now if I had several of these, I would just export a spreadsheet, but for now I'll go ahead and save it. Oops, I should probably say this is tile. So I'm exporting PNG. In this case, I don't probably need a whole sprite sheet, just a single frame as PNG file. Okay, now let's go over to Unity and see how that works. So I had two I previously brought in. Let me go ahead and delete those. I'm going to close this one without saving. Okay, so I'd gone in, I'd gone to Window, and down to 2D, and brought out Tile Palette. And I'd gone through and made a new tile map. Let's try it here. We'll do Game Object, 2D, Tile Map, Rectangular. Okay, it's got that, and then we'll do Window, and then do the tile map. 2D tile palette. Alright, so I went through and made a new tile palette, and I put the tiles in here. So let's see if I can recreate that step for you. Get rid of this. Create 2D tile palette rectangular. This is where I did a new one. Or I could change this name. Okay, so I can drag in some of my stuff here. It's supposed to ask us when we, let's see, let's try this again. New palette. It's supposed to ask us about a file folder, rectangular. Now here we go, folder. So then you want to go into assets, right click, new folder, tile map for organization. And then you can drag in some sprites. I think there's another one I have in here somewhere. Let me find it real quick. These ones here, I think. Okay, so I've got these. Now, here, I can go ahead and drag something like this here. I'm going to send this back to the tile map. Doesn't really matter the order they go in here. in here for some reason. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so this allows us to actually paint with these into our scene. So here I can choose a brush tool. And we do want to have the grid on too. So this will toggle the visibility of the grid. You can see this is actually painting these tiles. Now, the problem is that we need to go ahead and grab these here. If we click on the grid itself, we should be able to grab its grid. So let's go back to assets here. There we go. Okay, so grid. And then if I want to paint this, I can. Problem is I need to change this grid size. So here on, I have grid clicked here to get to, so it's points here. I'm going to put this at, cell size done with 35. We won't until it fits. Okay, now, let's see, this works a little better. Now this one's gotten a bit larger. And that was because the other day I changed it. So we go in there and change these as well. Take this back to 1. I'll have to adjust this later, but long story short, we should be able to get this to where everything lines up.